ideas that we want to tackle in this thing. The first, we want to talk about the nature of indoctrination versus free choice. We think that was touched upon quite severely, and so we think it's important for us to deal with. The second, we want to quickly touch about the balance of state obligation. And finally, we want to talk about the global, more severe social harm in which not allowing them to engage with the world causes. Okay, so the first thing, before I deal with that, I want to just knock something on the head, right? We think that there's been an entire debate in the first half of whether it's forced or not forced. We think that's a red herring. We don't care. We are actually happy to take on the high burden of it being forced if that's what they want. We really don't care, right? We think that's right. Okay, so let's deal with this idea of nature of indoctrination versus free choice, right? In a community, how does one develop their ideas? Okay, or how does one get the ideas that they're born with? One has, first of all, put in a situation where one is isolated. This is how the cultural communities work. They're isolated. They prevent you from getting access to other forms of information, other forms of access, other counterpoints of ideas. Then they provide misinformation or misleading ideas. Then they co-confirm those ideas, right? Then they put social pressure on you to accept those ideas and to prevent you from questioning them, and often by fear or of retribution if you dare question them, right? Under those situations, first of all, you feel this kind of dependency on this community because you can't leave that community, you can't go elsewhere without knowing without having anywhere to go or knowing where to go. Well, then you also can't develop your ideas because you can't engage with anything outside of the indoctrinated ideas that you had. But more perniciously, you think it is your own free will, your own choice. Now they said, but that means you'll be happy. This is where we brought our drugs analogy, right? I can take drugs. That might make me happy. That doesn't make me productive or capable to deal with reality or to deal with the consequences of how I engage with reality. What they said, we brought it up again. We said, so a slave, as long as they're happy, as long as we give them soma, they'll be good, right? But this 1984 ideal that they want to tell us, right, is not so far-fetched because North Korea, the point that was brought up in the first block already, said, we love our dear leader. We're happy with him. Yeah, we can't get enough of our dear leader. Don't go out anywhere else. But they want us to be happy with this. They think that's okay. We say we can't. We say that reality has consequences. If you don't think that reality has consequences, I dare you to test gravity, okay? It has consequences. But more importantly, we've recently had an asteroid fly at us, okay, and nearly explode over Russia with, massive force. We have global warming, right? If you think that reality doesn't throw you a curveball and that you can just simply ignore it and then pretend to be happy and hope for the best, at some point reality will catch up with you. You have to engage with what is. There are impacts, there are consequences. You cannot ignore them, okay? And this is the point about why understanding reality and engaging within reality, first of all, enables you to develop free choice. And secondly, makes it the most important thing, finding freedom within reality. But not avoiding reality, which is what they're proposing for us to do. Okay. So then, I'll take it. Go for it.
Why is it that normal reality is what you call reality and not the reality for an individual in his own?
No. There isn't my reality, your reality. Let's knock that on the head. There's only a reality, right? If I go out, then we both fall down those slopes, right? There's a perspective and point of view which we can have, but that has nothing to do, that's an interpretive perspective of reality, not what reality actually is, right? If there's a meteor hurtling towards us, it's gonna hit or it isn't. That is just a fact of reality, right? Let's stop with this relativistic nonsense, right? So let's talk about the state obligation, okay, and where this comes in, right? We say that we have a possibility here. Either we say that all religions are therefore abusive, and therefore we say we take all children away from their parents at birth and put them straight into foster care. Or we say we allow them to develop these cult-like mentalities of isolation and indoctrination. Or we try and find some kind of middle ground, where we allow people to have their free choice and develop the communities the way they would like to develop those communities. But at the same time, allow them to get challenged, allow them a time to explore, when the moment that they are independent enough and adult enough to go outside, and the moment that they're still in their formative years to be able to engage and realize those consequences, that they can change their opinions, that they still have time to integrate into society, that they still can make that freely, that if they want to come back to that community, they're entitled to, but they know what they're getting into, and they've had the opportunity to be challenged by all the options outside, okay? Or not, right? But that's their choice. And for you to tell them, they don't have the right to have that choice. That we know that the abuser that's keeping them captive in that cult environment has the right to tell them that they're happy and should be in that choice. We think that's an abuse. We think that's a harm. We think you're denigrating their own intellect and their own right to be self-autonomous individuals that can actually deal with reality and choose for their own right. We beg for that to stop. But then we want to talk about one last point. This idea of social harm. Because let's face it, these individuals live in a greater community. They live in they vote, right? These votes are part of our political system. They have consequences. If I'm in a community where I'm told life begins at inception and there are no exceptions, you know, and when a woman is raped, there's a legitimate right, and there's a way to shut that whole thing down, as some American politicians recently said, right? If that is your indoctrinated idea, and you haven't been challenged against that, and you can vote, you're not only impacting your own happiness, you're impacting the happiness of others in society that you haven't even met, of others in society that you don't know how it works, that you don't know how it operates, of others in society where their lives are at stake and dependent on your ignorant vote. This isn't only about you. This is about everyone who has to integrate within that society and live together with happiness, where you don't have the right, on your own isolated, bigoted ideas, choose to say, no, gay rights don't have the right to marry because I believe they don't, and I've never been challenged in that opinion because no one will let me be, and they tell me it's wrong, and I'll go to hell if I do challenge this. No, they have to be allowed to escape those indoctrination. They have to be allowed to get challenged in reality so that they can understand the greater aspects of the community in which they're involved, so we can have the social integration that everyone can enjoy and that everyone can live in together. For those reasons we say, give them the choice, give them free choice, let's integrate them into our society. We beg to propose. Thank you.